Hey everybody, welcome to Terry TV. I'm Terry Hardin, your host because it's my channel. How are you? Happy Monday. Here on Terry TV. It's about me, Terry Hardin. Yes, well, it's not really about me. It's usually my thoughts, kind of a free brain here. My name is Terry Hardin, and I am a Disney Imagineer and pop icon. I work with the Henson Company, done work on Ghostbusters, Men in Black. Google Terry Hardin, and you'll get to know all kinds of cool stuff about me. I won't sit here and roll through it. Welcome. And if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome and consider subscribing. Uh, a lot of the people here are fully vested and good people and just really love to tune in and check out what's going on with me and what's going on with you. And as you can see, Crazy Mike always does this lovely countdown, and I thank you for that. And always a pleasure for you to do that, Mike. I appreciate it. And Debbie's in the house. Today, I thought I would talk about learning something new. And this is really important because I run into people all the time who say, I'm too old to do this. I should have done it when I was younger. My path was different. I got married, had kids. There's nothing wrong with getting married and having kids. In fact, congratulations, good for you. And all kinds of things like this. Or I was afraid to go through the door of opportunity or whatever. I have a huge resume and a huge history of doing a lot of stuff. But I will say that which makes me feel, I just love learning. I think learning is one of the biggest blessings that you can have in your life. And I love doing it. Sometimes I love learning a bit too much. And during the pandemic, well, let me go back just a little bit more. I've been a sculptor ever since I could pretty much hold a tool, and I've been drawing since I was about 3. Art was always a part of my life. I had very supportive parents, refrigerator full of our drawings, a lot of encouragement, all kinds of stuff like that. My father used to say, let the whirling dervish whir, as far as I'm concerned. I was just a very creative, precocious child. I still am. I'm someone who sees something and I want to do it. I call it the obsessive creative. Well, one of the things I didn't do is one of the things that frustrated me when drawing was that you had to squeeze 2 dimensions. You had to squeeze 3 dimensions in the 2-dimensional space. And the wonderful thing about sculpting is that you just sculpt it. You have the piece, you sculpt the front, you sculpt the side, you sculpt the side, you sculpt the back. And I love that about sculpture. Never trying to take something 3-dimensional and putting it on a piece of paper. You know, this is not 3-dimensional. And you're trying to put that in there and make it look like it's round. And so I knew I could do this, but I avoided a lot of painting. Still drew, but avoided a lot of painting. And when the pandemic came along, all of a sudden I thought, well, hey, I don't got a lot to do. Let's learn some painting. What I realized was that I don't like solvents, and I'm allergic to some of them. So oils, as much as I was curious about oils, I could not use oils because of the solvent. Solvents are very toxic. The additives you use, things like this, some of the colors can be very toxic. So you don't want to have things like, you turn on the back of the tube and it says liver damage. Okay, let's not make that an option. And a lot of times when you're painting, you're in a studio where it's closed off. You can have the fan going and stuff like that. But to take oils, which remain wet for up to 6 months or more, to take that outside when you're trying to paint it with wind and whatever things sticking on your painting because it's wet. So acrylics seemed like the best way to go at that time. And I've been painting with acrylics. I used to say I could not paint with acrylics. They're impossible. But I really buckled down during the pandemic and I started to work with them. And I wasn't good. I fought with them back and forth. I'm still, because they're a very interesting thing. The funny thing about acrylics is they dry very fast. So people are constantly trying to slow them down. With oils, they dry very slow. So people often want them to dry faster kind of the grass is always greener. Hey, look over there. Look over there. So as a result, when I started to paint, I made a decision that I wanted to be looser. I'm a very detailed perfectionist. I do teeny, tiny work. If you look at this piece right here, this is a bottle I did for, it's a soap dispenser. You notice this is a dime up here. This material that I sculpted in is called wax. It's a toy wax. And you can see how tiny SpongeBob and whatever that guy is, Squishington, whatever. I don't watch the show. This is about the size. If you see the dime, you can see it's like thumbnail size. It's the size of my thumbnail, but just all this detail and little SpongeBob is insane. I mean, it's an insane amount of detail in such a small thing. And they loved me because I could do this, and I do often. This is what my sculptures are about. Then I came up with a line of sculptures called Impressions, where I was a touch looser, but I was still very particular about detail. So I thought to myself, I'd like to be looser with my painting, but I took from many artists, and many artists would say, sketch your painting out on your canvas first. Okay, so I'm going to paint in acrylics. And so the first thing I'm going to do is take my pencil, and I'm either going to freehand sketch it, or you're going to take transfer paper and transfer the drawing once you're done. Nothing wrong with this, guys. It's just that for me, I wanted it to be all about the paintbrush. This was the thing I wanted to learn. And I went to teacher after teacher trying to learn it and break myself of something that is ingrained in me since I was a kid, which was get that likeness almost, try to get it as close as possible to the real person. And many people say, just take a picture. With today's camera, why are you doing that to yourself? And there's tons of artists who do these photoreal paintings that are amazing, but I didn't want to be in that stable, just me personally. I also didn't want my art to look like their art. So I do a photoreal and they go, oh, it looks like blah, blah, blah. No. So I was striving for that too. And I was having a real struggle with it. I'm going to show you a picture that I did. This one, I drew out my own face. And the reason I did it was because I couldn't complain. I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings if I was going to do this painting. If I was going to do a painting, it was only me. There are a lot of things that aren't right. This is my very, very first acrylic painting. And the thing I think that is amazing about it, if I may say so, is I got my dreadlocks right. You can tell that my hair is dreadlocks. The face is close. You can tell it looks like me, but it still wasn't right. And the teacher who taught me how to paint this, what she did was she had us paint one eyeball and then go over to the other eyeball and paint that eyeball, and then come into the nose and paint the nose, and then go into the mouth. So it was kind of like a paint, like a sectional, paint this square, then paint this square. It was weird to me. And I know a lot of artists paint that way, but it didn't feel right. Okay. It just didn't feel right. So I said to myself, nah, this is not the process I want to do. I will keep being on the search of the process that I want to do. And then I met a teacher who took the mid-tones and you went into the light and into the darkness. Oh, that didn't work either. I said to myself, okay, this is just, my brain is like, no, thank you. No. Enter an amazing paint called water-soluble oils. And just give me 1 minute. I'm going to grab my art bag. I'm going to grab my art bag here, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, okay? This bag, which is a great bag, by the way, has a new to me, paint called water-soluble oils. I'm just going to pull out a couple. I should have had this ready for you guys, but I didn't. I'm going to pull out 2 different brands because I have 2 different things I'm going to talk to you about today. What color did I grab there? Let's grab a brighter color here. Here we go. All righty. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we are. These paints are water soluble oils. There are silver brands that make them. Artisan, that's this guy. Cobra, oops, let's do that again. Cobra, that's this guy. Okay, so here they are right here. We'll put it by my face because my husband hates when I'm out of focus. Here they are, and they're both different. This one is very special. This one is also special. It depends on who you are. If you've painted in oils and you don't like the toxins, and I mean even terpenoid, okay, because many oil painters will say there's less toxic. Here's the statement. There's less toxic oil paintings and paints. True story. But the key here, you got to listen to the words less toxic. If you're someone who wants no toxic, not less toxic, this would be you. This would be me. So the nice thing about these water soluble oils is that they don't use solvents. So I don't care. It's non-toxic because it works with water. Now, this one here cleans up with water. It works just like oil paint, but it cleans up with water. It is recommended that you don't thin it with water if you want to do a wash or anything, that you use a pigment to do that. This one, on the other hand, scientists came out with this brand, Cobra. Let's put it this way so you can read it. Cobra, the Cobra brand. And the Cobra brand is very special because it not only mixes, dilutes, or cleans up with water, it also can be diluted with water without ruining the properties of the paint. What does water do in these? It actually activates some special molecules that activate it in an oil paint. So it works like an oil paint. Oil painters will say maybe not exactly, but for me, it's great. It was a bit of a learning curve, but here you go. I painted with it in a class and my painting was semi-successful, but I knew I had a long way to go. Enter color mixing class. Now, those of you who are artists out there, you may have taken a painting class and someone teaches you color, and this is what they end up doing. They give you a color wheel. Here it is, guys. Okay, here's our color wheel. And they show you primary color, which is this blue. It looks a little dark here. Primary color, this is red. Primary color, this is yellow, right? Then secondary colors, tertiary colors, these are the colors. And values, we do them in black and white, light to dark, okay? And your teacher will say, you know, you mix these two together, your opposites, you get a color. If you mix opposites, you mix them together, you're going to get this, like this one, and this one will make this one, blah, 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 right? Right. And then they'll smile at you and they'll say, let's get painting. That's the end of color class. You know, toss, there it goes, out of the way. And you're like, but wait a minute. There's got to be more to color than that. Everywhere I turn, there's color. So I got the opportunity, frantically searching for my style, which I couldn't find because I would do this drawing and then it would be really nice and then I would paint it and it would look really cool. But it was still this anal behavior that I do when I'm sculpting. It was still this thing. So I thought, okay, let's just be loose. Let's do a color class. So I found a wonderful color class online, 6-week course. A 6-week course. And this teacher came up with a really good method that I wanted to share with you today. So I'm going to show you my journey. I'm going to show you my mistakes, the things I challenged with. I'm going to talk to you about it. And the main reason I'm telling you this today is so that you will be inspired that if there's something on your agenda that you want to do new, I want you to jump and do it. And if it's not perfect, this is the good thing. If you run into a mistake, which I have several here, they are happy accidents, and I will explain why. Okay, you ready to do this journey with me? Well, even if you're not, you're going to, okay? All right, get ready. So here we have the first color analysis challenge that I had with this wonderful lady. Her name is Rebecca, RTY, if you want to look it up. It is an investment for a course, but it's really good. You may say right now when you look at this that it's blurry. It is not my camera. It is her choice to have us do this because she knows us as artists. So if I turn this one around, you can see this one is crisper, right? It's nice and crisp, but she doesn't want a nice and crisp. She wants blurry. So she's pixelated this. It's like she's put over it like a pebbled glass filter, and then she's also used green. All right. So the hue, you've got hue, saturation, and value. Hue is the green hue. She wanted you to observe how it affects this young lady. Everything has green in it, even though you see a little bit of red in here. The green is influencing that red. You can't just paint red, right? And then the shadows. And the teacher said, get these as dark as possible. Well, my first attempt was this green lady who doesn't really look much like her. And as the teacher critiqued it for me, this hue is very hot where this is very subdued, right? There's green there, but it's not soft enough. Okay. You can see that it's a much more intense color than this, which is a lot softer. It's more gray in here, but it's my first one. Now, what the teacher said was, don't worry about likeness. Color. It's all about color. I don't care if you paint spheres. I want you to get the idea of hue versus this. So she told me this all needed to be darker. It wasn't dark enough. Like if you look at my lady right here, she's not dark enough. And then I had trouble applying the paint. This is my first time using water-soluble oils, and I had a little bit of challenge. And also photographing, it sometimes looks like you didn't do a good job. So there it is there, and that is the green hue. Now, I actually liked it. Like you can see here, I have darkness here, but there is no band of darkness here. So she was all about the color. You know, this band here that you've created is nice, but it's not indicated here. And I want to make sure, as the teacher, she wanted to make sure that I had it. But what I noticed here was a much looser drawing than the ones I had done before. My other drawings very tight, right? You remember my self-portrait. If I pop that up and show it to you, you remember that my self-portrait, very clean and crisp. This one, you know, the eyes aren't this, you know, eyes, everything's measured. This one, not measured. So now I'm seeing a looser thing happening here, and I'm thrilled. Okay, I'm looking at the looseness of it. Does it look like her? No, it doesn't matter. Are the colors close? At least I got green, right? Okay, so the next thing she had us do was Red Lady. And this is Red Lady. Again, a pixelated. Now think about this. If you're someone who's really into these likenesses, but you can't get past being super accurate, and someone tells you focus on the color, look at this. Okay, so now just do the hue of red. All right, now you can see I'm more purpley here. This is darker. It should be lighter. The jacket has no reflection. Again, I am struggling with the paint itself. And so I asked the teacher why of the problem, and she doesn't work in water-soluble oils. And so basically what I can tell you is this material was too rough. So I changed papers with it. But what was great about this picture and the lady was that, again, it is an impression of her. You can tell it's her, but it's more of an impression because I was focused on the color, not the likeness. The color, not the lightness. And although I wasn't hitting it just yet, I was still in a place that I could not believe I was in. I hope I can convey this to you from words, but I was always working to be super accurate, like the self-portrait you saw. And this was the first time I was loose enough that I did it. I also did not use graphite to draw her at all. You can do a grid method when you're trying to get the exact thing, and you can do, you know, these enlargement methods to do it, but I didn't want to do that. Calipers, whatever you want to do. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do it freehand. And this is the freest I have allowed myself to be. I've been painting since the pandemic. I have never been this loose. And I was so excited to see how these things were changing in my life. Both of these just I used a brush to do the drawing. So now there's paint on the brush. I'll show you that in a minute to do the drawing. And then I painted no pencil, no grid, no graphite, ever touched these, no charcoal, nothing. So I was very excited about this. Do they look like them? They are reminiscent of them. They're my interpretation of them at this time. This is the first week. This is the first week. Remember 6 weeks? Okay, we're going to take you through the rest of the journey. I hope you're enjoying it. Feel free to comment if you're enjoying it, because this is important for you to see that as an Imagineer, as an artist, as someone who's very accomplished, I'm still going through basics. Okay, I'm still stepping through the basics. And this is something that's very important, because you got to start somewhere, right? And I had not painted. I sculpt like crazy. I am really, really good at it. This was taking some time, and I wanted to find my own style. So far, this was the closest to something. I couldn't say who paints like this other than myself, which was cool, right? Okay, so the next thing we learned was saturation. Okay, and saturation is important because you have two versions of saturation, which is no saturation or grays, and then full. This is full saturation. This is him, So this picture is his saturated picture, because you can see very blues. You can see how bright and brown this color is, how the hue is really, this is saturated, okay? They would be grayer if they were desaturated. So let me grab him for you so you can see what I did. Again, I did a quick painting, and let me just show you in my painting log here. I started with a sketch, only doing a brush. So there it is. That's not it. Here it is. So I did this with a brush. So you rough it in with a brush. This is burnt sienna, watered down because I have water-soluble oils. And with that brush, I painted this. And then we went on to do this fellow right here. And the first one was desaturated. So here, this is more gray. Let me just pull that there. This is more gray. This is not as bright as this. But let's talk about the overall. Do you feel that it is this guy? I'm going to say yeah. But is it photo accurate? No. Is it an interpretation of it? Yes. This is what I was striving for, is to break free of me wanting to do this. Is it making sense? I would have not done this, but what happened is my teacher said, think only about the color. Now I'm dark enough. The transitions are good. The highlight is pretty good. This one's a little bright. That could have been a little less, but it's cool because you can tell it's my sort of, again, it's a style that is mine and I love it. This one here is the saturated one. Now for saturation, you see purples, blue, 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 bright, bright browns, you see? And in this case, I kept things very, very dark. If I held it a little closer for you, you could see that there is an eyeball in there, just a little thing, but it's here, there's a couple of things that she pointed out, like number one, this nose looks like he's been drunk. And this one, that lip is way too light. Cause you see how you don't look at it here, things like that. But she liked the impressionistic style of it. And even if she would have said, no, she didn't like it, I don't care, because this right here is something I have not been able to do. I have not been able to create stuff like this on my, yes, this is oils, and thank God it's dry. It took a long time for it to be dry. And I have to be careful because if you have acrylics, you'll grab it like this and then you're wearing the paint. Just FYI, if you go to oils after acrylics, it does not dry like acrylics and it does not layer like it. But the point is this guy right here really excited me because it looks enough like our gentleman here, but it's my interpretation of it, which made me really happy. The look is the look in the right direction, blah, 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 blah. This is what the teacher didn't want us to be thinking about. Color only, value only. In this case, saturation only. Bright, bright, dull, dull gray, bright, bright blue. Dull, dull gray, bright, bright blue. Grays and whites, that's desaturated. Blues, saturated, and purples and browns, etc. Worry about what the lesson was. So this is week 2. Finally, I'm happy that I can kind of stack them because it's not so easy when they are wet. You're just like, oh my God, they're all wet. I have to be careful of wearing them. Okay. So actually, first week was the color wheel. Second week was the green and red lady. Third week was our man in blue. And fourth week was to learn about palettes, meaning what colors can you use. So she gave us, scoot over girls, she gave us this lady right here to do. And this lady was the Zorn palette. Zorn was an old master, and he used only 4 colors. Those 4 colors were yellow ochre, white, black, and red. Okay? So you had to use, to get the grays, you blended the white and the black. Black was straight. You could put a little gray in there. You put a little white in there if you wanted to be more gray. But you had to figure out how to combine the red and the yellow ochre and white to get some of these not only values, but these hues, right? So you've got the black here, you've got the white jacket with a little bit of gray here, you've got the gray here. We didn't have to do the slats. Again, she's looking for us to do, and this is pixelated, so it's soft compared to the actual picture. So she had us, again, draw out, and this is my, and you see how they're, I mean, I hope you see how they're improving. The likenesses are now getting better in the transition and the volume of them. Still needs work, but the lips, I really love how they are. They may not be exactly hers, but they're starting to have volume as I learn about color. So I'm taking the color, working on the color, focusing on the color, not focusing on does it look exactly like her, but focusing on the color. Now, in this case, I think the way I painted this one, she might not be, you know, she looks like she could be her sister, but not necessarily her because she's got a rounder jaw here if we were going to pick on stuff like that. But the beauty of it is, and I tend to stretch them, give them longer necks for some reason. Wait, do you see the next one? And that's what I'm talking about. This is because it's about color. But again, it's Terry's. I can feel it in my body, guys. This is the exciting part. Is this a mistake or a happy accident? Because I'm feeling it in my fingers. I'm finally feeling my ability to do my own. It's my art. Like you could look at it and go, "Oh, that's a Terry." You might not now because I'm still on the journey. But the point is that this is the farthest I've gone away, and it's because my teacher Rebecca of RTY. Look over there. So I'm thinking color, and it broke me free of being so anal about getting the likeness right. I can't believe it. I've been at this since the pandemic, which was 2020, and I just couldn't break free of it. I kept going back to photo reel, photo reel, photo reel. When you work for Disney, you have to be on model. So it comes from that. When you work for Mattel, Barbie's got to look like Barbie. She can't just be some sort of, idea of Barbie. I love the idea when I got to play a few abstract ones, but it when you're doing it for a client, they want it to look like their character. And of course they do. So you become this perfectionist in making sure everything looks like it's supposed to. And now that I'm on my own, I really love the fact that I can do what I want. But here, like I said, this makes me very, very proud because it doesn't, it's a lovely painting and it's got a lot of emotion. It's got a lot of energy, but it's not a photo reel of her. You know, she is my guide. This is my, this is my, um, this is my interpretation. Now you can see around her hairline that I haven't got the reds in there. So my teacher said, you know, this is a color class. Where are those reds? You know, and the lipstick needs to be a little more deep, you know, so yay for me, you know. But I was just really, yes, my color still needs work, but I was still like, woohoo, you know. Yes, I didn't get some of these colors, but oh, goody, goody. I did get, you know, I did, I broke free of that stigma of trying to make it perfect. And I think the pixelated pictures that she has is great. So this class is not an inexpensive class, but it's well worth it because it's the first 6-week color course I've ever seen in my life. And it is just brilliant. It is a brilliant course. I can't say enough about it. It is fabulous. And you got to take it from her because she helps you to get out of yourself. And what I'm pointing out to you is even though I'm very good at what I do, I'm not, I was trying to get out of my comfort zone, as they say. But I would just, because I've done it for so long, I just kept following into that rut. You know, if you play the same song over and over and over again, the record goes, it's in there and it just, that's what you are. If you're one of these people who likes it to be as realistic as possible, as close to model as possible, trying to break free of that just for the fun of painting, is easier said than done. I love the Zorn palette because it was only 4 pigments and mixing became really fun. But when she gave us our next project, which was the one before the final project, when she gave us our next project, which is this young lady right here, this one was called the Bright palette, where all of the saturation is bright, bright, bright colors. No desaturation in here whatsoever. No grays. You know, you've got a rich red. You've got a beautiful bright yellow. You've got a rouge here that looks like she put it on with a trowel. You know, the lips are popping out really good. The yellow glasses, everything, etc., etc. So when I did the sketch of this girl, I did this sketch right here. And you'll notice I gave her a little bit of a longer neck. And then this is my painting so that you can see the similarities. I decided to let you guys see the actual paintings between the two, but here they are. So you can see this girl is kind of a little bit anime-y maybe right here. And here, you know, can see, look at, I've given her a longer neck. This face angle right here is kind of more that way. And this face angle is more straight to you. Doesn't matter, not paying attention to that. Looking to get a bright yellow that I like, which I loved. To get a graded, now I'm learning how to do the paint better. The key to this was a canvas that was a little smaller too, so it didn't suck every bit of paint out. You can see if we put them close, their skin tones are close. However, I'm a little brighter in here with her than this girl. And you can see she has more shadow here, so I missed that. But here is what is the aha moment. My teacher said, value is the key to volume. Value is the key to volume. So if I take you back to 4, here is my art piece here. But what really was the aha moment for me in this lesson before the final project was the grayscale. This is the grayscale. Now in sculpture, I always go to grayscale because color can mess you up when you're sculpting a likeness or a figure for Disney, Mattel, whatever you're doing, right? But look at how dimensional it looks underneath the chin. To me, I almost cried because my gosh, this looks like that head is jutting from that chin because the values are on point, meaning you can see dimension in the grayscale, and in the color you see it, but sometimes it's just the color can play with you. But if you put some of your paintings in grayscale, sometimes it will show you where you need work. Okay, so you go here, go, okay, it looks pretty good, but now if I go here, and my teacher pointed out that indeed I had forgotten the glass on the other side of her face. If we go back to this one and we look at her grayscale, let's just flip this book. If we look at this grayscale, whoops, I don't want to tear them out. She made them so that they could be torn out. I don't want to do that. I like keeping books intact. But you can see here that the grayscale has a lot more darker. The eyes are darker here than mine. The ones I have, it's lighter in the eye area. And then we go back to our girl and it's darker here, see? So, but there is a dimension here that I nailed. So now I'm getting more excited because, again, it's my painting. Now it's been 6 weeks and, okay. Now it's been 6 weeks and the teacher tells me that I can do a painting. I can work on likeness. We can all work on likeness. We can do what we want. She first demos. This one is one we can do, that example she gives, which I went, no. And then she gave us, I'm going to work faster because I don't have a lot of time today. This one, which I said, no judgment on the models. They didn't speak to me. And then this one, no. Okay. Not any other reason, but I told myself that, and this is the color mixing course, if you want to do it, you want to go see Rebecca. And this is called color mixing. It's amazing. But she's wonderful. She's a wonderful, wonderful. Go take this class from her. She is so good. But I decided to do my own choice. And she told us we could do our own choice, but I began to shake and get nervous. And the reason I began to shake and get nervous is because this is a portrait that I absolutely love. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to execute it because she is amazing. And I was scared. I'm going to be honest with you. I was shaking. Do I have the chops to do my own interpretation, to start with a paintbrush, to move through the process? And I said, this is my 6th week, fly or die. And so this is what I'm saying to you, fly or die. You know, this teacher is going away and I won't have the opportunity to ask her these questions. So why not take a leap of faith? And that's what I did. So here is the model. She's amazing. She has incredible eyes. She has incredible skin. I've loved this. I've had this picture for years, and I just love this model. I think there's so much beauty in her, and she's absolutely exquisite. And so I decided to paint her. Teeth chattering, hand shaking. Can I do it? And I said to myself, we're going to go for it. We're just going to jump because it's my final project. It's my last chance to do this. So I started with a sketch, and here is my sketch. This is all done in burnt sienna. And there it is. This is my sketch of her. And I did it with a paintbrush. No pencil, no graphite. Not my normal behavior. I just went for it. Okay? So excited. And then the final piece, which is not there. Where'd she go? Come on, girlfriend. Where are you? This isn't it. Why is it not in here? I know she's in here, but I can't find it. That's okay. I'll show you it live so you can see it live, okay? I'll go get her so you can see her. So here is, and she's a little washed out here. So because of my camera ain't the best. Oh, I just found her. Good. There she is. Good. So anyway, here's the portrait of her. And then here is the painting. Now she has my color. The colors are pretty close, actually. She's a little bit grayer. But there she is right there. Now, what I want you to understand about this painting, why it makes it so special to me, is if we take this away and we go to this, remember, 6 weeks, guys, 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Keep saying that to yourself. 6 weeks. And in 6 weeks, my style has improved this much. First week, last week. First week, last week. I don't know about you, but this is the first teacher to help me with my journey to my style. My style. Does it look exactly like her? No, it does not. Here she is under a good photographic rendition. So it's interesting learning how to paint with wet or photograph wet, because when you photograph wet, it reflects. And so my husband helped me to take this picture because he's brilliant in shooting pictures. But if you look at this and we go into my little corner thing and you look at my green lady right here, look at the difference in just 6 weeks. And what was the success of it? The success of this painting was because she took my brain, she shook it up, and she made me think about something else. Forget likeness, think about color. And from that emerged my style. Now, is my style still going through a process? Absolutely. But I look at this painting and I can't believe that I painted it. And then I know I did. And I'm so overjoyed because I had no idea that a color course was going to do this for me. So let me wrap this up just for you. Let me tie a bow on it for you. The good thing, wonderful thing about it, the joy about it, is that when you start something new, you're never going to know what it's going to lead you to. Did I learn more about color? Yeah. Did I have a good time doing it? Yeah. Did I ever think I was going to find my style and have my feet set upon something I've worked 5 years to strive for and been unsuccessful? No. And each happy accident with color showed me a happy victory with style. All these are workable as far as style is concerned. But this picture of my lady is a happy medium for Terri. This is Terri doing a likeness that is interpretive of the actual photo. It is not photoreal. It is my interpretation of what I saw. And that, I've heard from many painters, is the key to painting. Now, she could develop into something else. I want to paint her again. But now I'm thinking of, what do I want to paint? How do I want to paint? Knowing this is the style, feeling confident of starting with a brush. You saw the first drawings I did with the brush. Clunky, awkward, but you got to walk before you run, right? So all I'm saying to you today is you got to do this. You got to do. If you see something you want to do, whether it's learning puppets or sculpting or whatever, understand in the beginning, yeah, you're going to maybe mess up. But every mess up might trigger something in your brain that leads you to something super cool. And so I thought it was important for me to show you this today because for years I've been a very successful artist. My stuff sells very well. But this is something, and I've sold paintings, but I've done the drawing, and then I've done the painting, and then I've done, This one was really just the flow, the way I imagine painters are, back, brush farther, holding the brush farther back and standing, and doing that. No, I never did that. But the point is it was just so liberating. And I just thought it was something that you guys needed to know, just from my heart. You need to know. Don't let fear keep you from going through a door just because it's scary. I was shaking. It took me 3 hours just to mix the colors because I was just, and the other thing about this is that as an oil painter and an acrylic painter, I didn't understand glazes. I didn't understand how they would go. And I also didn't want to jump in before I understood the foundational stuff. And in this painting of this lady right here, and I'll show her to you again, inside the face, I was looking to get these grays that are around her nose and underneath her eyes, right? But now I know that glazing would help me with that. That using a medium mixed in oil. So that's the next class I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn about glazes. And then I'll probably paint her again and see how she looks. I will probably paint her several times because I love this model. This model is very special to me. And I don't know her personally, but she's very, very special to me. And she means a lot to me. And she's inspiring. And she's looking at me now saying, you did it. Keep going. Your style is there. Don't give up. Keep moving forward. And painting is something that in 2 dimensions, I was very concerned about making look dimensional. I mean, I would always say to illustrators and painters, I love how you make it dimensional because you're taking a thin piece of paper and putting something on it that's 3 dimensions. I would much rather sculpt because that'd just turn it and sculpt what I see. But now I see that if I keep at it, it works for me too. And I can have a mixture of impression and realism, which I can feel myself leaning towards now because painting is my retirement gift to myself. I'm semi-retired, and people say a creative is never semi-retired, but I am. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I also wanted you to know I will not be broadcasting on Friday, and this is because I have a whole week of doctor visits. When you turn sick, when you get into your 60s, you want to do a lot of preventative stuff, and this is preventative week. So let me quickly grab a few of these. If you paint, I think you know what I mean. Okay. I think you know. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Crazy Mike says, being 2 different brands, does it affect the paints if you mix them? No, it doesn't. You can mix it with actual oils, in fact. Ooh, all of a sudden I went dark. I have no idea why I'm in the darkness here when I posted that. Look at that. That's so weird. Sometimes StreamYard does what it wants to do. So I don't know, but I touched nothing. I promise. Anyway, yes. Mike, you can mix it with water solubles can mix with oils, but then you can't dilute with water anymore. You can mix the Winsor Newton brand with the Cobra brand, and then the water solubility for thinning them out works. Yeah. But if you just use Winsor Newton, it's not good to thin it with water because it's not designed that way. Look at this. This is so weird. Man, this is weird. I don't know. It is, sometimes these color things, you're just not sure what the deal is, but we'll keep going. In my mind, I can see Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe. No. I just think it's a great paint. It's a great paint. Let's see. Painting without first drawing it out of someone is free falling. Well, this is the thing. When I sketch, I'm an excellent illustrator. Okay. So I can do the drawing, cover it, seal it with the acrylic paint, right? And then you've got the drawing underneath, and that kind of guides you when you do graphite. But again, it's too for me. I've sold paintings like this, guys, but it wasn't right. Okay. I wanted to be more loose. I want to get into looser, freer painting. I don't want to be Jackson Pollock. But well, maybe I do. But the point is that this is just heaven. This is just heaven to see it. Thank you, Jonathan. I really appreciate that. Wendy says, I miss doing art. In my case, life just got in the way. And this is exactly it, Wendy. And I encourage you to start again. Just little bits, just little tiny things, grab some paint and just play. And decide whether you like oils or you like acrylics. I like both for different things. I do a painting for Chuck Jones, Red Dot, and they sometimes tell me 2 weeks before it's needed. An oil isn't going to cut it because it takes about 6 months. You can do faster drawing, but it still takes time. This lady is still a bit wet. So I have to have time if I'm going to do an oil, but if I need to do something fast, acrylic hits, and I'm learning the blending techniques with acrylics versus the blending techniques with oils, which is what makes oils so special. You've got more time to do the blending if you like blending. But I did layering, blending, all kinds of wild stuff with this lady, and I just couldn't believe how happy it was. Crazy says, they are fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate that. Here, let's see. Model Terry showing off the latest watercolor paints after a nice over shoulder green of spots on her shirt, touch of blue. Yes, I just am showing you all of the challenges that I had because a lot of you will say, Crazy Mike says they're fantastic. Thank you for saying that. A lot of you will say if you hit a mistake, that's a stopping point. That's actually a go point because it's a happy accident. I told her my green lady was an alien security officer. She was customs. So she was trying to see if you were allowed to come onto her home planet because she has that kind of, deadpan look. And my teacher thought that was kind of bizarre, but that's because I really embraced not making it look, just going for color. And as a result, because I embraced that, that's what happened. Yes, a progression of improving is evident. 6 weeks. Wendy, my goodness. If you would have told me I would have been doing something like this one at the end, I would have told you were crazy because this has been a real challenge to me for over, what is it? Almost 5 years, and then before that, when I wouldn't even touch paint because I just felt it's not my medium. And then I was like, well, why not make it that way? Stop listening to that inner voice. Just proves that I listen to that inner voice, right? So that's the exciting thing. Mike says a giraffe in human clothing. I don't know. I think that is the animation, not the animation, but the illustration side of me. I do a lot of freehand drawing and looks a lot like that girl with the long neck. So, so she says that Crazy Mike says red hat on the right has a Eddie Munster half in the middle. Maybe, doesn't matter. Wendy says the eyes, 6 weeks or a month and a half. Yeah, you have a good point. It could be a month and a half. Still, it seems short to me after 5 years. That's all I'm going to tell you there. Hello there. Wow. Great work, Terry. Thank you for sharing. And I just did this because if you're on the precipice of learning something, but you're nervous because you're going to be a beginner, I just want you to embrace being a beginner. Being able to say you're a beginner is part of the pleasure of it, right? So just say, hey, it's my first one. You ask the teacher, can you guide me a little? The great thing about this piece was that my teacher was able to talk about glazes. She hadn't talked about glazes before. There was no reason for her to, because she wasn't teaching us oil painting. She was teaching us color compositions. What makes up color? Why is color important? How can you do and deal with color and dimension and value, which is the key in painting to make it look dimensional. So she talked about glazes and the entire class was like, what are glazes? Why would we use them? And it opened a book for her to discuss them because that is the next direction for me as a painter, is to start to work now with oils and acrylics and use some of the mediums that I've read about because I haven't touched any of them. It's just been pretty much direct paint. So that's the cool thing. So it's wonderful. Thank you for saying that. Terry's a super artist. I am someone that just doesn't stop. Good morning, Terry and Tribe. Impressive artwork. Better than I can do. Well, Joe, do you really know? Practice. What do they say? You hear practice, 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 and you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm telling you, it's really interesting. You do this several times and things emerge. It's like you're giving your spirit permission to come out through your fingers and do something cool, even if it looks weird, right? You got to say to yourself, this is really neat. So, are you applying glazes to the stream? Nope. Nope. Oh, you mean those colors? I don't know what's going on. Sometimes the spirit is willing. I got my little gremlins in here and they're doing their thing, I guess. Yeah, Wendy, retirement goals. Yeah, and Wendy, I'm here for you. You have any questions? I'm going to start teaching some classes in this. So this is also why I train with other artists, is to see how they teach and how they do it online to the to the uh to the thing. So I'm going to read this last comment and then I got a motor. Like I said, doctor visits, doctor visits, doctor visits. And so I'm going to use this day to have one little bit of celebrating and then off I go. So finally saw Horizon American Saga, HBO. You really enjoyed it. Watched it again. I'm still working on my review of it. Essentially loved it, but I can understand that some people had issues and felt kind of lost. Looks to be much richer. Chapter 2. Yeah, I've heard a couple of things, but Joe, I'm kind of hanging on. I want to hear what you have to say. Not that I just haven't had time to watch TV, but I know how much you are into the cowboy culture and how much you love. You and I both are Yellowstone fanatics. And it's just been really wonderful to hear your take on stuff. So I am looking forward to that. Yeah. And we'll leave with Glazing Saddles from Crazy Mike. Guys, I love you. Do something nice for someone else and to make you feel a whole lot better. Sorry, I'm cutting it short today, but I want to have a full day of good eating because tomorrow and the next day, I've got a procedure that's going to be, yeah. So it's not bad. It's just, yearly thing or not yearly thing, older thing. Okay. Can't broadcast Friday. I will post that I can't, but I will see you guys all on Monday. Have a lovely week, a lovely weekend, and we'll see you.